Hello to all lovers of tales, myths, and legends. The 7 deadly sins are vices capable of corrupting the human soul and turning it away from God. According to religious teachings, a newborn comes into the world pure and innocent. As they grow, they gradually encounter earthly temptations and desires, which not everyone can resist. Many people commit wrongful acts, and the consequences can be severe. In this episode, we'll discuss each of the 7 deadly sins according to Christian doctrine and take you on a brief tour through the 9 circles of hell. The canonical list of the 7 deadly sins was compiled in the 6th century by Pope Gregory the Great, based on the work of the Greek monk theologian Evagrius Ponticus. Later, this concept was refined by the great philosopher-theologian Thomas Aquinas, who introduced a traditional system of human vices ranked by their depth and severity. The most concise definition of sin traces back to the New Testament and is defined as an act that violates God's commandments and the laws of existence established by the Almighty for humanity. The Italian poet and thinker Dante Alighieri illustrated the punishment for sins in his Divine Comedy. For centuries, people have known about the 7 deadly sins, each of which is overseen by a specific demon. Ancient legends and myths were passed down from generation to generation, focusing on these demons. Demonologists also paid particular attention to these sinful demons, dedicating several works to otherworldly entities. Thanks to numerous studies and preserved grimoires, the 7 main sins today can be associated with specific demons. Pride is considered the most unforgivable and serious of the deadly sins according to the Bible. It was due to pride that God cast Lucifer out of the heavenly realm, condemning him to rule over hell and all the sinners who end up there after death. Adam and Eve also paid for their pride and desire to rise above God when they tasted the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. According to religious scriptures, pride is at the root of all deadly sins because it can completely consume the mind and emotions. A proud person is a prisoner of their desires, unable to think rationally, and strives to reach the top of the pedestal by any means, regardless of others. Pride has often been called the father of all 7 human passions, as it was considered Satan's most prominent trait. In this state, a person sets themselves against God and separates their spirit from Him. It's important to distinguish between pride and pridefulness. Constantly opposing everything and everyone drains the soul and covers the heart with an impenetrable crust. A prideful person gradually becomes numb and unable to experience love, friendship, or sincerity. The history of this deadly passion spans millennia. Aristotle noted that arrogance is always motivated by self-satisfaction, posing a great threat to society. In Christianity, pride is associated with Lucifer. Envy, like greed or lust, is characterized by an insatiable desire to have everything immediately. Dissatisfaction with one's own blessings is highly destructive, as it constantly undermines and provokes people to commit disgraceful acts. Envy gives rise to petty malice, sabotage, hurtful words, evil curses, and other misdeeds. When envy takes hold of a person, it can lead to greed, selfishness, anger, and hatred. An envious person lacks humility and gratitude to the Almighty for the blessings they have received. It was out of envy that Cain killed his brother Abel, whose sacrifice was accepted by God. This sin can completely scorch the human soul, leaving behind only bitterness and wrath. The sin of envy is associated with the demon Leviathan. Negative traits are inherent in every person, so the emotion itself is less important than the consequences it brings about. When consumed by anger, a person loses control and becomes truly terrifying, sometimes even dangerous to the world around them. In its purest form, this quality can lead to bloody feuds and age-old conflicts. To understand what human vice truly is, one must delve into biblical sources. Initially, God instilled the feeling of anger in the human heart as a symbol of all that is sinful and inappropriate. However, over time, it became distorted and turned into a negative expression towards both close and unfamiliar people. In rage, a person is unable to listen to their opponent or turn to faith. Often, anger does not pass without leaving a mark, as it plants the seeds of resentment that smolder within for days and nights. Thus, the human spirit is plunged into darkness, longing for only one thing: revenge and eternal torment for their offender or enemy. At the root of the sin of anger is Satan. Despair or sloth is a complex concept that has its roots in ancient times. Despair as a human vice encompasses mental, spiritual, physical, and pathological states. In laziness, people lose all interest in life and stop making any effort to achieve previously set goals. Essentially, such a person's life turns into mere existence, passing time on earth as predestined. In religious circles, despair was associated with a sickness that afflicted priests and servants of God, making them utterly indifferent to their duties and service to the Almighty. The key characteristic of this sin is the absence of emotions and feelings toward oneself and others. As a result, boredom, malice, apathy, and sluggish thinking ensue. The person becomes a true recluse, isolating themselves from everything happening around them. From a physical perspective, laziness is connected to the cessation of any work or activity, leading to idleness and complete inaction. Such neglect inevitably causes the stagnation of the spirit and slows down a person's progress on the path to eternal life in God. Unlike other vices, which are immoral traits, despair is the sin of unfulfilled obligations. The evil of sloth lies in the absence of any feelings or emotions toward the world around us and other people. This leads to a person becoming estranged from their own self and God's plan, turning into a slave to idleness. Additionally, laziness undermines both physical and emotional well-being, leading to spiritual destruction. According to Christian belief, the demon Belphegor tempts people into sloth. The Church teaches that an unhealthy pursuit of wealth and the accumulation of possessions is one of the most grievous deadly sins. The Italian philosopher and theologian Thomas Aquinas wrote that greed is a sin against the Creator himself because it causes people to forsake the eternal for the temporary. Greed can lead to theft, robbery, deceit, manipulation, and other anti-Christian deeds. Greedy people, without hesitation, refuse to help others because money becomes their primary value, overshadowing mercy, kindness, and love. A greedy person is often called a miser, as they hoard their wealth and, in doing so, destroy their soul. The sin of greed is associated with the demon Mammon. Gluttony holds a special place among the 7 deadly sins, as it is seen as the slavery of one's stomach, bordering on wastefulness. In ancient times, gluttony was condemned because overindulgence by the wealthy could lead to the suffering of the poor and hungry. In the Middle Ages, the meaning of this sin expanded somewhat. Thomas Aquinas believed that gluttony could include an excessive obsession with food, inappropriate fussiness about what to eat, and an overindulgence in delicacies and expensive dishes. The theologian identified several forms of gluttony. The most serious form is the greedy consumption of food, as it represents an attachment to simple and base pleasures, which can lead a person to reduce their life goals to merely food and drink. A vivid example of this sin is the episode when Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of lentil stew. When the human spirit succumbs to gluttony, it falls under the control of the demon Beelzebub. Lust and lechery have nothing to do with God's original plan for family and procreation. Lust is often associated with intense or uncontrollable sexual desire, leading to adultery and various forms of perversion. Lust is the only sin that is more physical than spiritual. Despite being a bodily passion, the roots of lust lie in the mind and imagination. Lust often arises from a person's fantasies and thoughts, gradually manifesting in physical form. For many, this deadly sin results not in happiness but in suffering and pain. Sometimes, researchers also include irrational jealousy as a form of lust. When a person gives into passion, they hand their soul over to the demon Asmodeus. And now, we come to the most important part. In 1321, Dante Alighieri wrote his Divine Comedy. In it, he presented his model of the underworld. In the work, the author describes hell as a place consisting of 9 distinct locations, which he calls the 9 circles of hell. Despite being nearly 700 years old, this literary masterpiece still captivates and even terrifies people around the world. The main character of the work is Dante himself. It all begins when Dante, having reached middle age, finds himself lost in a dark, dense forest. Overwhelmed by the oppressive darkness, he encounters wild animals, a leopard, a lion, and a she-wolf, which symbolize human vices, lust, pride, and greed. At this moment, the ghost of the ancient Roman poet Virgil appears to help Dante. Virgil not only offers to lead Dante out of the forest, but also proposes a journey through hell and purgatory to reach the promised heaven. Dante agrees to traverse all the circles of hell when he learns that the Roman poet was sent by Beatrice, Dante's beloved, who died young. He follows Virgil and enters the gates of hell. Above the entrance to hell, there is an inscription, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." As they descend into the abyss, the travelers see the wailing souls of those who, while on earth, committed neither good deeds nor evil acts. Also trapped there are angels who sided with neither God nor the devil. After passing by them, the travelers reach the river Acheron, where the fierce old man Charon ferries the dead to the other side, where the first circle of hell begins. The first circle of hell is called Limbo and is guarded by Charon. Here, the souls of unbaptized infants and virtuous pagans, such as warriors, sages, and poets, languish. Among them is Virgil himself. These souls, while not guilty of great sins, did not know the true God and therefore found no place in heaven. They are not subjected to torture but remain in eternal sorrow. The travelers walk and converse with great philosophers and poets of antiquity, including Homer, Aristotle, and Caesar. At the descent into the second circle of the underworld, the souls are guarded by King Minos, the just judge of the dead and father of the Minotaur. In addition to his duties in the second circle, he also assigns souls to other circles of hell according to their sins. The second circle is filled with the souls of those who gave in to lust and passion. Here are the souls of Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, and Semiramis. The punishment for the lustful is an eternal hurricane. The souls are tossed about in a continuous and powerful wind that hurls them against the rocks. In the third circle, the ferocious dog Cerberus reigns. He is the guardian of this circle, where the souls of gluttons are tortured. Their punishment is to lie in filth under constant rain and hail. In addition to the rain, the enormous maw of the three-headed Cerberus torments the souls of the sinners. The demon Plutus guards the fourth circle. Here, the souls of the greedy and the wasteful, including many clergy, serve their punishment. They push massive boulders uphill, only to collide at the summit and roll back down, repeating their torment endlessly. After leaving the fourth circle, the travelers descend to the fifth circle. This is the final resting place for the wrathful and the slothful. These sinners are trapped in the swamps of the Stygian marsh. The wrathful souls are condemned to fight each other eternally in the swamp, while the slothful lie submerged at the bottom. The guardian of the fifth circle is Phlegyas, the ferryman who transports souls across the Styx. Leaving the fifth circle behind, the travelers come upon a tower. At their request, the demon Phlegyas ferries them to the walls of a fortress. Before them spreads the vast city of Dis. Their path is blocked by a horde of demons, but a heavenly messenger arrives to subdue the dead and clear their way. Upon entering this, they see tombs engulfed in flames, with strange wails emanating from within. This circle is home to the souls of heretics and false teachers who are forever burning in their graves. The sixth circle is guarded by three Furies, Tisiphone, Megaera, and Alecto. As they prepare to enter the seventh circle, Virgil explains to Dante the layout of the final three circles, which descend to the very center of the earth. The seventh circle is located among mountains guarded by the fierce Minotaur. The travelers witness a boiling river of blood, where the souls of tyrants and robbers writhe in torment. From the shore, centaurs shoot arrows at them. One of the centaurs, named Nessus, offers to help and guides them across the river. As they traverse this dreadful place, the travelers see a forest of thorny, leafless bushes. These are the souls of suicides. Harpies tear at them, and the damned souls trample them as they run by, causing unbearable pain. Those who squandered or gambled away their fortunes are condemned to endlessly flee from demonic dogs. Blasphemers, perverts, and those who harmed or hindered the arts are doomed to suffer eternal agony in a desert, scorched by a fiery rain. Next, Virgil leads Dante to a deep chasm, the eighth circle. The infernal beast Geryon lowers them into it. The eighth circle is divided into 10 ditches, known as the Malbolge. In the first ditch, pimps and seducers are punished. In the second, flatterers are whipped mercilessly by horned demons and sit in a pool of stinking excrement. The third ditch is paved with stone and dotted with round holes, from which the legs of corrupt clergy, who sold church offices, protrude. Their bodies are crushed by huge rocks, and their feet are engulfed in flames. In the fourth ditch, soothsayers, astrologers, and sorceresses suffer. Their necks are twisted, so they weep down their backs rather than their chests. The fifth ditch is filled with boiling tar, where winged devils throw bribers, ensuring they don't surface. In the sixth ditch, hypocrites are weighed down by heavy, gilded cloaks of lead. Dante and Virgil then witness a crucified high priest who played a role in condemning Jesus Christ to death. After a difficult climb over rocks, the travelers reach the seventh ditch, where thieves are tormented by monstrous, venomous snakes. These snakes bite the thieves, reducing them to ashes, only for them to be resurrected to endure the torment again. In the eighth ditch, fraudulent advisors are punished. The travelers then enter the ninth ditch, where sowers of discord are mutilated by the devil with a heavy sword, their noses and ears cut off, and their skulls shattered. The 10th ditch is reserved for false witnesses and counterfeiters. The false witnesses, consumed by rage, run around biting anyone they encounter. The counterfeiters are disfigured by dropsy and die of unquenchable thirst. With that, the journey through the Malbolge ends. The travelers arrive at a well, where they descend further down. The final circle is guarded by the titans Briareus, Ephialtes, Antaeus, and Lucifer. Dante and Virgil reach the bottom of the abyss. Before them lies the frozen lake Cocytus, where the souls of traitors are eternally encased in ice. At the center stands Lucifer, disfigured and three-faced, frozen in the ice. From his three mouths protrude the bodies of Judas Iscariot, Marcus Junius Brutus, and Gaius Cassius. He chews them and tears at them with his claws. A passageway extends from Lucifer, leading to the surface of the opposite hemisphere. The travelers squeeze through it, climb to the surface, and behold the heavens. Dante's vivid journey through the circles of hell comes to an end. Let's hope that none of us ever face these torments, because it's all too easy to end up in one of these circles. Perhaps you have your own ideas about what other circles of hell might look like if they existed and what tortures might be found there. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.